Hi there, and welcome to the second video for the free video series, The Secrets to Finding Happiness in Midlife Just for Women. I'm Shannon Elhart, the founder of Green Heart and the creator of this series, and I'm so happy you're here. I'm actually having such a beautiful morning. The sun is shining, there are like a million birds outside in the front yard, my backyard, and they're all happy and feeding. It's just lovely. I love these mornings. Everyone feels happy. So I want to first remind you, if you haven't watched the first video, it should be right above me. Make sure that you do. There are some fabulous tips about how women have 3 habits that stop them from being happy, and it's all about how we're thinking, and just that awareness can help tremendously. But it's full of some great ideas for you. Today I'm going to talk to you about the 5 layers of happiness, and I know this is going to be brand new to you because I created it, and it's been so helpful in my own life and in my clients' life that I thought it was time to share. But before I do, I want to tell you a bit about why I do the work that I do with women and why I love it so much. So when I was 31 years old, I started my midlife journey. So I don't feel like midlife always happens in the middle of our life, around 40. I think that's a very typical age, but it also can happen when something in our life kind of shakes us up. Something serious or tragic happens and causes us to stop and kind of take some inventory of our life. So when I was 31, that's what happened. I was pregnant with our second baby, and he was diagnosed with a terminal condition. And so, as you can imagine, there's a long story about this, and it was a very, very painful time in my life. When Jonathan was born in September of 2000, he passed away the next day, and he left me with such wonderful gifts. And the best gift was, of course, having some time with him, which I'll always cherish. But he also inspired me, something very unexpected. He inspired me to look within to see, who am I, and how am I living my life, and why am I living this way, and how do I want to live the rest of my life? And I believe that's what happens for most women, is we start searching at some point, whether it's around the middle of our life or it's due to a big event such as what I went through. And we start wondering, who are we? How are we living our life? How do we want to live our life? And I love working with women at that stage, whether it is in the middle of their life or in their 20s or in their 60s, when they start realizing they want to really be living with more awareness and consciousness and really creating their life. Now, my midlife journey took me quite a long time because I had a lot to figure out about myself, and I had to really learn how to love myself. I never had really loved myself before that. And that was probably due to a lot of cleaning up I had to do. So this is probably the most personal part of the story, but I had a lot of cleanup. Now, what I mean is I needed to obviously heal from Jonathan's passing, which was very painful. But I also had to look at an experience when I was 18, I was raped, and I had to look at that and really heal that and let that go, leave it in the past. I had to look at my struggle with addiction, with alcohol that was wreaking havoc in my life, and really leave that in my past as well and work through that in my way. I went through a divorce. I had to really look at that and look at how I could let that go and heal and forgive myself and my ex-husband and everything like that. And there were some, because of that, some financial ramifications that were really, really frightening that I had to learn a lot about myself through. I don't share this all with you so you feel sorry for me, because I don't feel sorry for me. We all have pain and suffering in life. Those are actually really important times in our life. I share it because I've had plenty of reason or ways that I could justify being an unhappy woman or being the victim of my life. But I've learned how to not let these experiences, even though some of them were very, very dark, I've learned how to not let them stop me from living a really happy life. I believe at that age, 31 for me was very pivotal. That was the start of my midlife journey, and it helped me to make the decision to take more control of how I wanted to experience my life. And making that decision brought a lot of good to my life. Obviously, healing my past and becoming a stronger, more confident woman, and realizing that I was very empowered, and realizing that I could love myself. That's what I love helping women do, is helping them to find that happiness by healing their thoughts, their negative thinking patterns, and healing their past. And there's nothing I love more than seeing a woman really shine in her life, seeing her realize that her happiness is determined on how she views herself, her life, and the world around her, and that she has control over that. And when you shift that thinking, you really are free to not only live a happy life, but to create the life you really desire. So with that, let's get on to the 5 layers of happiness. As you can imagine, there are different sources of happiness. Some will leave you with fleeting happiness that might last a few hours, a couple days, maybe a couple weeks. And there's other sources of happiness that last much longer. And the main source of happiness is that happiness that kind of sinks into your bones, that you can tap into at any time and feel joy. So as I explain these, I want you to imagine you're bundling up to go outside into a winter storm. So you're putting on layers of clothing. In fact, you're putting on 5 layers of clothing for these 5 layers of happiness. The outer layer of your clothing is going to do the least for your immediate warmth because it's the farthest away from the heat of your body. The closer layer is going to have more impact keeping that warmth in. Now, they all work. They're all working together to keep you warm, but you'll feel more from that closest layer. And that's what it's like with these layers of happiness. The outer layer is fine, but it's going to do the least for you in terms of lasting joy. It will bring you happiness, but it's going to be the more fleeting type of happiness. So let's start right there. Let's start with that 5th layer, the one that's farthest from you. I call that the black heels. And I mean heels as in shoes. Now, even if you're a flats kind of woman, that's fine. But we all have those black shoes, right? The ones we love, the ones we'll put on with a black dress for that event. Now, many of us have many pairs of black shoes, and the reason I called it this is that that outer layer of joy is from stuff. Now, it can be from simple things like getting new clothes or, the pair of black shoes, or it could be from something big like a new car or even a new career, something new in our life, or maybe a newly remodeled kitchen. Now, these things bring us happiness, but it doesn't take long until we hardly notice the new shoes or the smell of our new car or the fresh decor of our home. Now, there's nothing wrong with this layer. I enjoy it as well. It's just that it's fleeting. I call the next layer, the 4th layer, the special recognition. This happiness comes from recognition. It could be a compliment, a kind word, any kind of attention, or even an award of some kind. So again, it could be as simple as you have company over for dinner and they're like, wow, this is the best meal ever. And you feel pride and you feel happiness over that. It could be someone saying you look beautiful today, or it could be something big like getting your PhD. This is a great source of happiness. It's just that that happiness won't last quite as long as the other kinds. The next layer, the 3rd layer of happiness, I call the best friend. And this is the happiness that you get from being with people who you love. Family, friends, children. You know that best girlfriend you have who you can say anything to and you know she'll love and support you. It's that kind of happiness, that joy. And it's a really fun source of joy. And it can last so much longer than the first 2 because, as you can probably recognize, you're starting to get more deeply into yourself and in relationship. You're starting to be connecting more. And so that's a little bit longer lasting. Let's move on to the 2nd layer. This is the one that's second from you. I call this the crashing waves. And I call it this because I absolutely love the beach. That's one of the most peaceful, happy places I go to. And I love hearing the sound of the waves crashing on the shore. Now, this layer of happiness is a little bit closer to you, and it's a little longer lasting because it's simply being present. It's when you can really be in your life, no matter what, and to choose to be present in it. And I guarantee you will find more joy when you practice this. And why does this work? It's because our minds tend to run. I know yours does, mine does, because we're humans. We have amazing minds, but they run. And that is really what brings you the unhappiness, because it's your perspective and how you're thinking. Your mind can also take you away from the present moment and bring you back into the past, where you might feel regret, anger, sadness, resentment. Or it could push you into the future, where you find yourself feeling worry, stress, overwhelm. When you choose to simply be in this moment, you will start finding and experiencing and creating more joy in your life. Let's move on to the final layer. It's the closest one to you. I call this the genuine decision. This is the closest source of happiness. It is the longest lasting, and it is the most powerful because it's sincere and real. It's genuine. It is simply making that choice. I am going to be happy. Now, I know this might not sound very easy, but trust me that the more you practice thinking every day and throughout your day, I'm choosing to be happy. I'm happy. I can be happy right now. The more you practice that, you will feel a shift. Because the fact is, nothing else that I've talked to you about today, the black shoes, the special recognition, the time with friends, the crashing waves, none of those things are permanent. They can all change in an instant. And I know that's a tough reality. It's kind of a tough pill to swallow, but it's true. And so when you can tap into that inner source of being joyful simply for being you, for being alive, for being in this moment, that kind of happiness is much more longer lasting and something you can tap into at any time. Now, I know life will throw you curveballs. It does for all of us. And those are going to be times when it's a little more difficult to choose happiness. But if you practice this, you will stop giving your joy away over silly things like, I'm not happy because it's raining out, or I'm not happy because my boss embarrassed me this morning in our meeting. You're going to start letting those things go more easily and being able to more easily choose to just be happy. Now, in case you don't know yet, there's a happy sheet that goes with this video, with each of the videos. So if you look right beneath this, you'll see that there's a happy sheet that will help you to apply what I've just spoken to you about in your life. I really want to make this meaningful for you. So make sure you check that out. And before you go, I want you to think about the third video, the third and final video. It's all about the most simple way to bring happiness or create happiness in your life at any time in any moment. And I want you to wonder about that. And do you have an idea of what that could be? Because what I'm doing is I'm giving away a set of bracelets for each video. They're bee bracelets. I'm going to stand up so I can show you. These are bee bracelets. So they look like this when they're on, and there are all sorts of different beads. These are the ones called tie-dye, and they're for being self-kind and affirming throughout your day. And there's different beads for finding peace, for finding gratitude. So bee bracelets, if you want to win a set of them, I want you to finish this statement. It's the one way to create happiness in any moment is by blank. So fill that in. What's the one way to simply create happiness in your life? Take that statement and tag me, Shannon Elhart, and include the bit.ly. Everything is right below this video, so you can just copy and paste it. Put that on your Facebook wall, and you'll be entered to win some bee bracelets. And I know you'll just love them. These bracelets are to help people remember optimism and all the good stuff in our life. I hope you've enjoyed this video and that it's helped you to think a little bit more broadly about how you experience happiness and how you can start to experience more of that first and second layer of happiness. So again, check out that happy sheet. That will help you a little bit more. And I hope you have a really wonderful day.